I unrolled the survey map across the HOA board table. It made a loud, crisp sound in the silent room. Brenda, the woman who'd spent 3 weeks threatening to demolish my fence, leaned back with a smug smile. "You wasted your money on a surveyor, Mr. Henderson. Our GIS map is sufficient." I tapped the document. "Look at the map, Brenda." She glanced down. Her smile froze. Because the pink boundary line didn't just prove my fence was legal, it proved their $20,000 nature trail was poured 18 inches onto my property. And I had the county-stamped paperwork to prove it. Let me back up. This nightmare started 38 days earlier. I ripped open the certified envelope in my kitchen. Violation notice. Encroachment of protected common area. My fence, a simple split-rail cedar setup I'd been looking at for 12 years. Now suddenly a priority violation. I called the number on the letterhead. "Architectural Control Committee, this is Brenda." Brenda. The type who measures gaps between your marigolds with a ruler. "There's been a mistake," I said. "This fence was here when I bought the house 12 years ago." "No mistake, Mr. Henderson. We conducted a comprehensive visual audit, cross-referenced your fence with county GIS maps. You're 3 feet past your boundary, occupying community land." A visual audit? She'd looked at a blurry satellite photo and decided to threaten my home. "Brenda, online GIS maps can be off by 10 feet. The board's decision is final. Remove the encroachment by the 25th, or we escalate to legal action. Liens, contractor fees." The line went dead. I stood there holding the phone. 30 years in freight logistics. I'd moved cargo across 6 states, managed million-dollar inventories. And now some HOA committee was threatening my property over a fence I didn't even build. But anger doesn't solve problems. Data does. I found a surveyor in the phone book. $850 for a full boundary certification, he said. "And Mr. Henderson, I'm a licensed agent of the state. If you're over the line, I mark it exactly where it is. I can't fudge numbers." "I understand." I hung up. $850. Our emergency fund. My wife, Sarah, stood in the doorway. "Jim, just move the fence. I can't take months of fighting the HOA. If I move it based on their guess, I'm admitting I've been stealing land for 12 years. They could sue for back damages." She looked at me. "And if you're wrong about this, then I lose the money and the fence." I'd just bet everything on a hunch. If the surveyor proved them right, I'd look like a fool. But something in my gut said they were wrong. The builder who sold me this lot walked the property line with me, pointed to a massive sweet gum tree. "That's your corner," he'd said. "I built my fence inside that tree." Was he lying, or was Brenda guessing? I made the call. Tuesday morning. A beat-up F-150 pulled into my driveway. The surveyor looked like he'd been walking property lines since Nixon. "Name's Miller," he said. "Let's see what we've got." He set up his equipment in the street, walked my perimeter with a prism pole, shot angles. Then he walked into the backyard, past my fence, into the woods. I watched through the cedar slats. He pulled out a magnetic locator, swept it over the pine needles. He stopped, pulled a spade from his belt, dug. I held my breath. He reached into his vest, pulled out neon pink spray paint. He waved me over. At the bottom of the hole, capped in cracked yellow plastic, was a rusty iron rebar rod. "That's your rear corner pin," Miller said. I looked at the pin, turned around. The fence was 4 feet behind me, closer to my house. "Wait, the fence is inside my property?" "By 48 inches. You actually own a chunk of these woods? Relief hit me like cold water. The builder was right. Brenda was wrong. I started to grin. So I'm clear. Oh, you're more than clear. His voice dropped. He pointed deeper into the woods, and his face changed. About 15 feet past my fence, the HOA's nature loop wound through the trees. $20,000 of asphalt. Every homeowner assessed a special levy to pay for it. That trail, Miller said slowly, isn't entirely in the common area. My heart stopped. What? Your property line runs from this pin to your side pin up there. The path crosses that line. He looked me in the eye. The HOA paved 18 inches of your property for about 25 feet, and they did it without your permission. I stared at the black asphalt, at the pink spray paint marking my boundary. They hadn't just falsely accused me. They were trespassing on my land with $20,000 of concrete. You're absolutely certain? I'll stamp it. This survey holds up in any court in Georgia. It's getting recorded with the county tomorrow. I stood there in the woods, looking at that trail. A thought formed in my mind. Cold, clear, perfect. I didn't call Brenda that day. I waited. Let their deadline pass. Let them think I was scared, scrambling, ready to fold. The next day, a new letter arrived. Final notice. $500 fine. Contractor scheduled for Monday, demolition. Perfect. They'd just put their threat in writing. After they'd already trespassed on my property with a $20,000 trail, they dug their hole deeper. Now it was time to bury them in it. Thursday night. Monthly HOA board meeting. I tucked the rolled survey map under my arm, and I walked into that community center basement with a smile on my face. Brenda sat at the center table. When she saw me walk in, her eyes lit up. Predatory, like a cat that's cornered a mouse. Mr. Henderson, her voice dripped with satisfaction. Here to appeal the contractor fee? I'm afraid you're too late. The deadline passed yesterday. I walked straight to the table. I'm not here to appeal. To beg, then? Bob, the treasurer, shifted uncomfortably in his seat. To update your records, I said. I unrolled the survey map. The sound echoed in the small room. I hired a licensed surveyor. Brenda sighed. Theatrical. Dismissive. Mr. Henderson, the GIS map is sufficient. You wasted your money. Now you're out the fence and $850. Look. At the map. Brenda. Something in my voice made her stop. She glanced down. Her eyes scanned the document. The pink line is my legal boundary, I said. County stamped. Recorded yesterday. See my fence here? I tapped the map. 4 feet inside my lot. Completely legal. Bob leaned forward, squinted at the survey. He's right, Bob whispered. The fence is behind the pin. Brenda's smugness drained from her face like water from a cracked glass. Well, even if you're technically compliant, you should have submitted an architectural request form before... I'm not finished. I slid my finger 2 inches to the right. See this line? That's your nature trail, the one you spent $20,000 building last summer. I tapped the map hard. It crosses my property line. Your trail is paved on my land, 18 inches wide, 25 feet long. Brenda's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Her face went white, then red, then white again. This survey is stamped by a Georgia-licensed surveyor, recorded with the county. Legally indisputable. I straightened up, looked her in the eye. You falsely accuse me, threatened liens, scheduled demolition of my legal fence. fined me $500. And the entire time, you were trespassing on my property with $20,000 of asphalt, without permission, without easement, without compensation. Bob looked sick. His hands trembled as he flipped through the HOA financial binder. Their accounts were barely solvent. Everyone knew it. A lawsuit would bankrupt them. "What do you want?" His voice cracked. I pulled a typed sheet from my jacket. "A settlement. Item 1. Rescind all violations and fines. Item 2. Reimburse my $850 for the survey. Item 3. Issue a formal apology letter." "Done," Bob said immediately. "Item 4. I paused. "I grant the HOA a revocable easement for the trail. It stays where it is. People can keep walking it." Bob blinked. "You're letting us keep the trail?" "Yes. But the easement is revocable. Meaning if you ever send me another threatening letter, if Brenda ever drives by measuring my grass height with a ruler, I revoke permission." I smiled. "And the jackhammers come out." Brenda picked up a pen. Her hand was shaking. She signed the settlement. Bob signed it. They stamped it with the HOA seal. I folded the paper into my jacket pocket. "Pleasure doing business with you." I walked out of that basement, and I never looked back. The check cleared this morning, $1,050, $850 reimbursement, plus the $200 administrative apology fee Bob threw in to avoid a lawsuit. I'm on my back deck now, cold beer in hand, watching the sun set over the Georgia pines. Through the fence rails, I can see the nature trail, a couple walking their dog, a teenager on a bike, Brenda, taking her evening walk. She does it every night at 6. They're all stepping over an invisible line, walking on my land because I allow it. Brenda tried to take 3 feet of grass from a quiet retiree who just wanted to be left alone. She lost something far more valuable. She lost the moral authority, the power, the fear. Every time she walks that loop, she knows. She knows she's stepping on my ground. She knows I could rip it up tomorrow if I wanted to. She knows she was wrong, and she has to live with that knowledge every single day. She doesn't slow down when she drives past my house anymore, doesn't wave, doesn't make eye contact. Here's what 30 years in freight logistics taught me. Never bet against a man who measures for a living. We always check the coordinates. We always verify the data. And we always keep the receipts.